let's keep that going because we have a very, very special Q&A conversation right now. I'd like to introduce our moderator. He is the head of the podcast, both Suave and Death by Incarceration. He is the only formerly incarcerated individual to win a Pulitzer Prize, which is a round of applause worthy thing, guys. Woo! Let's please welcome Suave. All right, cool. And of course, our very special guests, alumni of the program and cast members. We have first Sean Dino Williams. Next, both in the film appearing as himself and the inspiration played by Philly's own Como Domingo, we have John Divine G. Whitfield. And finally, Clarence Divine I Maclin.
So now, we're going to have a conversation with them. You know, as a formerly incarcerated person myself, I can relate to the film on all levels. Because I'm one of the first guys in the state of PA. They created a restorative justice program for the mural arts, and we painted 56 murals for the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah!
So when I was like, hell yeah, why not? You know, and I did it in 3 days because I felt that a lot of times the media portray us as bad guys. Like, they never want to change. But this is what happens when you give it opportunity, right here. This is what you see. We human beings, you know, a lot of us are a lot of us go to prison for crimes that we didn't commit. But nevertheless, we here and we want to share this conversation with you. Thank you. You know, the first question I got, every prison in the United States always want a program that highlights them and put them in a pedestal, you know, for success. But yet, they create these orders that make it difficult for people to come in and volunteer and create this program. How difficult it was in Sing Sing to create a program like the theater group, RTA.
First of all, I want to say thank y'all for coming here. I really, really thank y'all for Once again, my name is John Divine G. Whitfield, and I'm one of the founding members of RTA. And to answer your question, let me tell you something. It is amazing how much obstacles, hurdles that are placed in our way when all we're trying to do is to simply create effective programs that repair us, make us better, so that we can come out. I mean, the administrative process of getting in a prison, first of all, is so arduous to the extent that they, to me, in my perception, it even violates certain people's, right to privacy. They want you to strip, they want you to do this. I mean, and I understand that because it's an element of security, but once they get inside, and I'm speaking from a New York State prisons situation because I served time in Sing Sing, I served time in Attica, I served time in Green Haven, Comstock, Clinton, the whole 9 yards. They put me through the wash. As you know, based on what the movie is involved in, I did 25 years in prison for a crime I did not commit. So I think I am more than qualified to speak about certain aspects of the prison circumstance. But to answer your question, a lot of those administrative processes are actually there to deter people from coming in. Because I hate to say this, and I don't want to sound like I'm being overly pessimistic, but a lot of times the officers are aware that if you stop prisoners from coming to prison, there won't be prisons and there will be people out of jobs. Sounds brutal, but that is the reality in New York State. And with that, I will pass it on to someone else who want to make a comment.
How you doing? I'm Sean Dino Johnson. I'm also a founding member. In the beginning, it was very difficult because I would have to say the administration didn't take us serious. The administration looked at it, oh, this is a rule for something else. What are you guys really doing? And then they saw we was having fun doing it. And then they felt we was having too much fun. You know that? So I would have to say it took us about 6 or 7 years of consistency. And all of a sudden the golden key just opened up the doors. The administration started allowing everything, any and everything. And it taught me a thing or two because, you know, being confined in a maximum security facility for so many years, it blocks your thinking as far as what you're capable of getting away with. Like we would come up with these plays and be like, no, they're not gonna let us do that. We would say that to ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
And then there was one of the volunteers who's also a founder, she would say, oh, I'll run it by them, I'll see what they say. And we was like, they're not gonna let it. She'll come back. They said yes. And it became a movement. It has been Sing Sing's best kept secret, the theater program, for years. And I'm so glad it's coming out now. But it took it had a lot of consistency. And then they saw that how serious we was about it. We was willing to put on plays without costumes. We was willing to put on plays without props and stuff like that. And they said, these guys are serious. They just gonna keep doing it. Let's start giving them stuff. You know, they started giving us. But that's how the beginning was. It was really hard because we didn't have backdrops. We just had sheets. We had prison uniforms, torn off sleeves, and we were right on top of them. And then the uniforms started coming. The outside clothing started coming in, and the props started coming in, and it just took off from there.
Yeah, our original sets was like the Little Rascal stuff. It was just comical stuff. I mean, it was outrageous, but I mean, it all paid off.
Yeah, by the time I got into the program, the program was pretty much established, and administration had already given way to let us do a lot of things, and I just rode the wave myself, man.
Yeah, you know, staying on that line, Divine Eye, right? In the beginning of the film, we seen you in the yard telling another brother, like, better get my money or else, right? But then Divine G was scoping you out. Yeah. And it comes a part where y'all both went up for the same road. Yeah. And Divine G was kind of like, when he seen you go in there, was there ever any real tension between y'all?
I would have never seen tension. I mean, we bumped heads a lot. You know, we didn't see eye to eye on many things, but you know, that's my brother. That's how, and you know, just like real brother, real family, I suppose. We're not gonna get along every day, but we're gonna get along.
Tell us a little bit about that, man. What's going on there?
Listen, all right, I'm telling you, right? You just want to hear about it?
I'll say he was a handful.
We just had two different outlooks on how we was going to do our bid. You know, he was more into the books and, you know, keeping everything straight. He ran the NAACP office and, you know, on the steering committee and all these things. You know what I mean? I'm in the yard. I'm doing yard things.
For those who don't know the yard is where it's at. That's where everything goes.
42nd Street. I'm in the yard, shaking it down.
But let me ask you this: when the volunteers said, "What's next?" you automatically said a comedy. You know, being in a maximum security prison at Sing Sing, a comedy. How how do you thought that was going to sit well with the rest of the population?
I wasn't really concerned with them. I wasn't really concerned with how they gonna take my idea of what I want to do, like with a comedy or whatever. My concern at that particular time was just to ruffle this guy fat. That was it. I didn't care if we did a comedy or not. I just wanted him to get mad.
I mean, being though that you was like in the yard, did you have any concern what the other prisoners or people in there might think of you by joining the theater group? Like, oh man, Divine Eye just went soft. Now, you had any concern about that?
Nah. At that point, like I said, I had already been in prison for a lengthy time. I've been here for like 6 to 7 years before I came to rehabilitation through the arts, and all that time I was a monster in the yard. I wasn't nothing to be playing with like you. You know what I mean? But another side of that is that with me and my reputation up on the stage, crying, falling down, laughing, and making you laugh, maybe that give somebody else in the audience permission to do the same thing. Maybe that give you the permission to look inside yourself and find your imagination again, because we lost it in prison. We have no more imagination. I found my imagination back on the stage. And in my imagination, I found a lot of confidence that I could do some shit,
By the time Divine Eye joined RTA, we was already established credible within the prison. In other words, it was some real dudes that was up on that stage.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's also one of the things that drew Divine Eye to the program.
Right.
See some real dudes that have good credibility, all of a sudden up there crying and...
Yeah, like the first play I saw was with you in it. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I thought everybody on stage was people that came from outside. I thought everybody up here was professional actors. I was like, I don't care about that, man. They don't care about us really. Get down there, I'm sitting in the audience and I'm looking up there, I said, oh, shit, that's Dino. Y'all be with these dudes in the yard every day. Then there was women up on the stage too. Yeah, I need to get up on that stage, man. I need to figure out how we're gonna get me up there, man.
But I'm gonna tell you in the beginning, there was a fear. We didn't know how the audience was gonna take us. And we would get up there and we started playing, and it's so quiet you hear a pin drop. And that scared us, because we was like, they don't like it. They don't like it. Until they just started busting out laughing. Oh my God. And we knew we hit that sense of truth with them.
And be advised, prison audiences are brutal. I've seen situations, listen, I had a situation where we had to debrief a brother. We almost had to take him to counseling. They robbed him off the stage, throwing stuff, and they traumatized this guy because he went up there and he didn't hit his marks. I warned them, don't come up here playing no games, but they gonna hurt your feelings for life. Right? So we had bad moments. We brought on, but actually it wasn't an RTA production. It was a talent show we did that we learned from the talent show. He went up there playing games, and man, it was terrible.
It was also what he had on, bro. You remember what he had on?
Yeah, I know. It was the talk of the town, because he went up there thinking like he could. Right, man, it was terrible. But we learned from that. So, us being intelligent people, we said, well, we can't do this. So, because we know this audience is brutal. They gonna tell you whether you hit your marks or not. They will tell you. And what made RTA so effective and so successful is that, like Dino and Devon said, mostly everyone in our group was guys that was upstanding individuals. They were men with credibility. I myself been to Attica, Clinton, developed a reputation, Dino, this and that. We had like a series of guys that been through the system that was no joke. And I don't want to get into how we get the name and how we get the description of being no joke, is that we were respected. So that when we got to Sing Sing, so, oh, these dudes are serious dudes. These ain't your regular, like, weak individuals. So when we got on stage crying and, laughing and playing roles that people could not even imagine, that's Divine G playing that. Oh, well, hell no, what? It was like shocking people. So we were giving individuals permission that you can think outside the box. You don't have to go according to some of these hardcore, because some of them prison etiquette rules are a little outrageous. I mean, I gotta keep it real. You don't do this because you do this, we gotta do this. They gotta bash the guy in the head, stab him. You know, we was giving them permission to say that you don't have to do it like that. And not only after these plays, when we were successful in committing these plays, I myself has always been an advocate. I was the president of the NAACP. I was top #1 jailhouse lawyer. You know, I was all over the place with alternative to violence, the liaison committee, the grievance committee. So I was like a prison advocate, and I had developed a reputation. So I was telling guys and trying to encourage them, we gotta stop hurting and killing each other here. There's too much violence in here, because Sing Sing is one of the most famous maximum security prisons in New York State. Violence is outrageous. So we were giving people permission to say that we don't have to go do it this way. We can do it this way.
Can I just add something to that? A lot of people knew me. I was an introvert. I couldn't communicate effectively. I didn't say too much. I was the guy that just sat in the corner and just looked at people. Because every time I opened my mouth, people would take it the wrong way. The arts was a powerful vehicle to help me become an effective communicator. It was changing our lives right before our eyes. So not only the guys in the audience would see the difference in you, but then your peers on stage with you, and you was all grown together. And one of the most dynamic things that RTA brought to my life, it taught me the sense of community. Years ago, if you asked me what a community was, I would say, this is where a bunch of people live. You know what I mean? And that theater community worked together for a common goal. It made me love the sense of community and want to come home and attach to my community.
So that leads me to the next question briefly. Dino, could you tell us about the role of acting and restorative justice in your life, both during your incarceration and as a returning citizen?
I'll be honest with you. Correction facilities did nothing for me. And the programs offered me nothing. Took them, didn't feel it. A lot of the programs have a shelf life. It only takes place at a certain time in a certain building. How do you take that back to the community? RTA had a culture, a nonviolent culture, working together, learning to deal with people you normally don't like. Because when they first brought us in the school building, you had, in this corner, you had all the gangsters. In this corner, you had all the jazz musicians. You had the philosophers, you know? And you had the other, you know how they click up in prison? And we all just looking at each other like this. What are you doing here? You know? And before you know it, here we are working together. We started looking past these walls that divide people. And we started working together. That's what brought. A lot of us are desensitized when we go to prison. We just know. The arts taught me how to feel again.
Thank you.
How to love.
Appreciate you. So now we all give these gentlemen a round of applause.
Good evening. I have a question for y'all. When you went back into the prison to film, you this movie? One, was it triggering for you? Two, where did you pull from in order to give us that stellar performance?
I went back into the prison to film, bro. I had an apprehension. I was apprehensive about doing it, about walking back into the belly of the beast, back into hell, you know what I mean? But where I pulled from, it was, the purpose of me doing this was way bigger than my apprehension. It was the reason I was doing this, the reason we created this art, the reason we sent this message out to the world that the people that are behind the wall are people and may have made mistakes but can change. That was bigger than me being apprehensive. That was bigger than when I put the greens back on, they start itching for some reason. The reason for us doing it was bigger than that. I overcame the apprehension, ignored the itching, and we did this.
It was traumatizing for all of us, you know? Because it was that moment where it was just silent, we're just putting the greens back on, and we like looking at each other like, and we're just looking at each other, and we all had to overcome that and be like, this story gotta be told. Who else is gonna tell it? You know what I mean? If we decide we're gonna put on greens, who's gonna tell the story?
Yeah, it was very traumatizing. I mean, just coming into the prison, man, it's like your heart starts beating fast because you wondering is the police looking at you, you're gonna go back in here, can you get out? You know you can get out. But I mean, it's just a natural response to a harsh and brutal, and I mean, almost like a vicious journey that just, it gnaws at, you know, your humanity. And going back in there, it just stirs up natural reactions. I mean, it is what it is. But we did it for a purpose, so we were able to say, you know what, let's put this stuff aside. We know we got a bigger and better vision, and hopefully that, you know, the fact that we are going to save people. I believe that RTA is going to save people because I'm going to say this. RTA has a recidivism rate of 3%. You know what that means? That means, and I feel good as a founding member to say that when you get touched by RTA and the way we do it and the love, the brotherhood, the passion, the concern that we show to these brothers, we change people. I have seen miracles that when I got out of prison, I thought I could mimic them miracles when I got out. It don't always work when you get out for some reason. But I've seen miracles, and I think that this program needs to be in prisons all across the country.
Maybe you can hear me. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me better now? How can we as audience members support the work that you did then, do now, and beyond just watching this content, which is amazing? Thank you so much for making it, but how do we take your work and empower the people who are still incarcerated today?
Are you in the arts?
I am.
Is this for a person from the arts?
I mean, kind of, in the sense that I'm a grad student and I do some work in the arts, but I'm not an artist self-proclaimed. But anyway, yeah, everyday person, how do I do that?
I mean, I think that one way to do that is contacting legislators and let them know that we need more programs like this inside the prisons. Because a lot of the time, people that are in prison are coming back out to your neighborhoods. They're your neighbors. So you have that right. Prison walls are not only there to keep people in, they're also there to keep you out from knowing what's going on. You have the right to demand them type of programs in your prisons today. And I guess this is a wrap. We gotta go. Thank you. I'm gonna put these up.
Thank you.
When the movie hit the theaters, please go see it again. Please go see it again. Tell everybody else to come out.
And tell a friend, and have a friend tell another friend, and another friend, and another friend. Thank you. I love y'all, man. Thank y'all.